Victoria is looking to legislate work from home rights, at least 2 days a week. Now, this has drawn the ire of business groups in particular and raises questions as to why the government needs to get involved in the first place. Earlier, I spoke to Redbridge Group Director Simon Welsh, who talks about the politics of this, not the policy, but why the politics will work, particularly in Victoria.
What we hear in our groups for years on end now has been this sense that, big businesses have become quite exploitative of, middle class, working class families. But there's this view that, business will do what business does. Business will get away with whatever business is allowed to get away with. And that's the key word, allowed to get away with. So what people say is business will do that, but we expect the government will step in to, tilt the scales back in our favour a little bit, or at least kind of try and keep it a bit of an even playing field. And a lot of the political volatility we've seen over recent years is because government is not seen to have done that. People really mark down government on those measures for a whole bunch of reasons, which won't bore you with here. But what this potentially does is provide a bit of a rebalancing of this scale. They seem to be doing something for middle class, working class families, and it's not in favour of the employer as such.
That is Simon Welsh. He is part of Redbridge Group, and of course they do polling, they do focus groups, and a lot of that information feeds into the policy-making decision, but more importantly, the politics. So don't shoot the messenger there. Let's go further south now to the mendicant state, which is becoming Victoria. James Campbell, editor, national politics editor at the Herald. Well, it is when it comes to energy in particular. I mean, could we list off a few other things?
It's interesting. One of the quiet whispers in Canberra, sort of watch conversations I've had in the last year or two has been, at what point is the Commonwealth going to have to step in to bail Victoria out? And what are the terms that the Commonwealth's going to have to offer? Because we just can't keep going on as we are. And we're now in this situation in which we pretend that the state's debt is not having an impact on the Commonwealth borrowing costs, because we pretend that at the end of the day the states are free to go broke. But the reality is, as you know, the Commonwealth's not going to let any state go broke. The question, therefore, is, how long before the bond market start overtly making noises about the conditions of some of the state's balance sheets. But I get that's a conversation for another day, I guess. On the work from home question.
Yeah, but just before we move off that, James, mendicant state, if I could just return. I mean, it seems like the Victorian government want to cloak themselves in this ideology of being a clean state, where they get all of their energy from the other states, from New South Wales in particular, South Australia as well. But they don't want to create their energy. They want to do things like ban gas. And when you look at the metrics, I mean, forget the bond market, look at the investment from business. And now it's work from home. They want to enshrine it in law and somehow insert themselves into this, commercial arrangement between employers and employees.
Well, but it's total nonsense, right, this thing. It's total nonsense for a simple reason. I have not been able to find a single lawyer in the last 2 days and who thinks that the Victorian government has the power to do this. It's a simple fact that Victoria does not have an IR power, right? We surrendered the IR power to the Commonwealth. The state government can put it into the enterprise agreements for its workers, but it has no power to enshrine this in law for private sector workers. Well, that's the view that's been put to me by reasonably informed barristers over the last couple of days. It's a weird thing. It is the most extreme form of gesture politics. I assume that Allen and co were hoping that the Liberal Party, the Victorian Liberal Party, which, let's face it, is not populated by some of nature's greatest rocket scientists, would start yapping about it. But it seems after Dutton, even the Victorian Liberal Party have worked out that that's a red-hot stove and have not reached out to grab it, as one might have, even Labor Party probably hoped they would. They said, oh, whatever, they're going to just let it go through the keeper. I mean, again, because it doesn't really matter.